So here we are on part 3 of my visit to Brevard County. Working from the top of the Space Coast, home to NASA, down, we visited LaGrange and Mims and St. Luke's and Courtney in Port 1, Indianola, Pioneer, and Crooked Mile in Georgiana in part 2. Now we return to the mainland from NASA's pad on Merritt Island to the city of Cocoa. I regret to report the conditions of Cocoa's oldest and black cemeteries are decrepit, disrespectful, and shameful. Aside from being neglected, they also serve as campgrounds and flop spots for the city's huge homeless and addicted population. Besides being admittedly tired from visiting 4 cemeteries that day already, Sheena and I found the squatter situation and overall vibe not one we wished to get out and walk around in. Even though founding families whose names adorn streets and buildings rest here. Watching people urinate on graves and headstones or tweak against a monument are both disturbing and heartbreaking. I haven't seen or felt anything this bad since I lived in New Orleans. Some of those cemeteries up north the river above Tulane Avenue. Nonetheless, we drove through and I did some research to get you at least some specific basic histories. I wish I could say this is unique, but having taphophile tendencies, I can honestly report it's common. First, we visited Pinecrest Cemetery, which stands at 815 Clear Lake Road in Cocoa. Established in 1929, Pinecrest holds 662 internments, most notably Emery Lawrence Bennett, a Korean War Medal of Honor recipient. Private first class automatic rifleman. He was killed in action. At the time of the establishment, this site was on the outskirts of town. This fishing village that also tended shipping barges along the Indian River was a primary refueling spot. NASA brought boom to this quiet town. The mainland directly west. Names on mausoleums will be recognized on street names as one drives around town. Pinecrest Cemetery Association manages this one. In 2013, Mayor Henry Parrish committed $5,000 a year to its maintenance and updating. After years of descendants and concerned citizens' persistent clarion calls at boisterous city council meetings. As with the 4 in Cocoa I visited, very little information for this one exists, save no doubt to its heavy military internment. I shake my head at consideration of what it must have looked like before the mayor's restoration money. When we pulled out of Pinecrest, we noticed a masonry wall and overgrown graves across the street. No sign. And a lot recently cleared of trees. I literally yelled at Sheena, "Oh my God, what the hell is that?" I had not seen anything on the maps across from Pinecrest. We finagled our way across the road and pulled in. I decided to check my map again. Nope, nothing listed there. No cemetery listed across from Pinecrest on Google Maps. Entirely overgrown and part of a land clearing project, I simply made a quick pull through. I could see the overgrowth was the stickery kind, and honestly, we were both sort of in shock. Though honestly, this is not unusual, I'm sorry to say, as some of my earlier videos will testify. Abandoned and neglected black cemeteries across from a well-maintained one is more normal than otherwise. Names on the stones would indicate that this was not exclusively a black cemetery, however. Digging a bit, I learned that this is most likely Evergreen Cemetery, holding 136 resting souls. And all I can do for you is name them, since no other information is accessible. Adams, Allman, Bellflower, Bennett, Bishop, Blake, Brannon, Brempt, Burnett, Cadieux, Carruthers, Kavanaugh, Kaler, Clifton, Kloss, Cowart, Crow, Cunningham, Douglas, Evans, Fisher, Fletch, George, Goldsmith, Graham, Greenspan, Griffiths, Hardin, Harple, Hathcock, Helms, Hodges, Holter, Honeywell, Johnson, Jones, Kelly, Kaiser, Lamb, Mallory, Manderson, Massey, Mathis, Montgomery, Morgan, Neiman, Patrick, Peacock, Pope, Pitts, Roberts, Robertson, Roush, Sanders, Sangster, Simmons, Snyder, Stahl, Stoke, Seifert, Taylor, Thomas, Trail, Tucker, Turner, Usury, Way, Willett, Yeager, in Cocoa. There's a Jaeger. Does that name sound familiar in terms of NASA? Jaeger and Zolke. Finally, and most sadly, is Cocoa City Cemetery, or Hilltop Cemetery, or Stone Cemetery. Across from the iconic Cocoa Water Tower, emboldened by NASA's flag, sits the oldest black cemetery in Cocoa, established in 1889, with 399 burials. Urchins were seated at gas stations across the street, watching who drove in and drove out of this hilltop. What's usually under a cemetery built on a hill? What hilltops are near beachfronts? Yeah, you know the story. Lots of shell mounds all over Brevard. Many old graveyards were indigenous places of rest and tribute first. All I'm saying is the only hill in a beach town is the oldest cemetery. That's all I'm saying. A plaque stands in honor of Richard E. Stone, placed by Adam and Sophie Dixon of Brevard Memorial Park, the under-acknowledged black gentleman who invented and patented the first directional signal light for cars in 1935. Stone also established the first recreational center here in Cocoa, Cocoa's first professional all-black baseball team, and helped start the Cocoa Rockledge Civil League. The cemetery in his honor, and this is how the city honors that. Started as a segregated cemetery, it expanded with changes in politics. The black side has long been the more neglected side, raising contrast and vociferous concern from their descendants since 2018, clearly, however, falling on deaf ears. Now, however, those abiding there atop the graves don't seem to care the race of the ancestors they urinate or camp on top of. This rest for 463 elders was started by land from Richard Dixon, who came with his wife and sons from Kentucky in 1870. They originally owned the cemetery. Now the city does. Richard and generations of his family are laid here. With nothing else to report about the cemetery than shame, I will instead recite the family names suffering desecration there. Agins, Aldridge, Alexander, Allen, Andrews, Ansom, Atkinson, Baker, Baldwin, Barlow, Beale, Beardsley, Blair, Bettler, Blessing, Blount, Booth, Bovard, Bowman, Bryant, Bracco, Bullock, Caldwell, Carter, Cawthorne, Calker, Childs, Coggan, Coker, Cole, Cooper, Coward, Culpepper, Curtis, Daly, Daniel, Davis, DeCourcy, Demroe, DeVole, Dingman, Dixon, DuBose, Deal, Ellington, Evans, Fodley, Fanning, Fisher, Fisk, Fletcher, Forrest, Fugit, Guerin, Geiger, Gibbons, Gilbert, Gibson, Gingras, Gleason, Gauding, Goff, Gore, Gould, Green, Griggs, Gurney, Hardy, Harrison, Hart, Hartsfield, Hatch, Hatler, Heaton, Hibbs, Higby, Hill, Hilliard, Holtcomb, Holderman, Hover, Hewlett, Johnson, Jones, Joyner, Kimry, Keyser, Klein, Knight, Latham, LaRoche, Latimer, Lemet, LaVisconte, Lincoln, Lip, Lockhart, Lyman, Magruder, Mason, Maxwell, McGinnis, McGloon, McGumphrey, McMahon, McMurrian, McMurray, Merlot, Mims, big name, Mitchell, Moore, Morant, Munson, Myers, Nichols, Cliff, Olaf, Orchid, Osborne, Osterstrom, Owens, Packard, Payne, Patterson, Paxton, Peck, Pelham, Phelps, Pearson, Pinkerton, Poole, Porter, Poulton, Prine, Pruitt, Rowlerson, Reese, Rembert, Riley, Reicher, Ronald, Rouse, Ruff, Sanders, Solernut, Schneider, Schumacher, Schuler, Shaw, Shepard, Shiver, Smith, Spearman, Stewart, Stoker, Summerlin, Sovingson, Taylor, Tedder, Terry, Thomas, Tilly, Trafford, Travis, Tucker, Twitchell, two unknowns, Untunk, Von Otteru, Viberts, Wade, Walker, Wallace, Webb, Weinberg, White, West, Westerdorf, Whittington, Wilkins, Willard, Williams, Winchester, Wintner, Wood, Wunton, and Young.